So let's go ahead and get started since it's 9:02, and I know some people might still hop on, and we're going to have this call recorded. So anyone that misses this awesome call tonight will just have to watch the recording. You guys, welcome to tonight's team call. We have Dave Ward on our call tonight. So I feel super privileged and special to have him on our team call because he's got some exciting things he's going to talk to us about. Dave is a co-founder of Fit Club Network, and I'm sure you guys know, they're like I like to call you our great-grandparents, Dave.
That's about right. I'm only 45, but I'm a grandparent.
Right, of the network. But yeah, so Dave Ward and Monica Kuhn, co-founders of Fit Club Network, built such an amazing, huge empire, founding coaches. Well, Monica's a founding coach. Dave helped build this whole thing, and I totally aspire to have my business be just like Dave and Monica's. So with that being said, and you guys saw the accolades when I posted about the call, so you guys can check it out. But this is the guy that you want to follow, take business advice from, and listen very carefully to what he has to say because he knows what he's doing. So thank you, Dave Ward. It's all yours.
Well, thank you. Thank you very much. It's funny. It was interesting tonight. I get invited to do a lot of team calls for people, and I always take it seriously, and I always prepare, and I always, try to do my best and deliver value and talk about whatever people have asked me to talk about. But I always really love just talking to our people, and to our team. And I think, I do kind of look at myself in that grandfather role as well. It's interesting to me that, so many people, I've just had this really small role in their success, whether that's just been they went through the 7-day training maybe. And, for 7 days, they saw me yap at them about how to set up your office and what Emerald's all about and how to make Success Club and making a list. And maybe that's the only involvement that I have. And then for other people like Carrie and so many other people, I've gotten to work closely with them and gotten to really know them and know, their spouses, significant others, in some cases their kids. And I do feel that way, and it was fun. I was kind of getting nervous to do this call tonight in a really good way, just because we have a culture that I hope you guys. I don't know that it's hard to appreciate. I'll give you an example. A few years ago, I was working. One of the big mentors in my life was a guy named Craig Holiday, and I was really struggling with my kids one day, and they were really out of control, And by then, I was done practicing law, and I was home. And I was fed up, and I was talking to Craig, and I said, these kids don't even know how good they have it. They don't even know how good they have it. I didn't even have a dad, and these kids have me home every day, and they don't even know how good it is. And he said, yeah, you know what? You're right. They have no idea. All they know is the reality that's in front of them right now, and they don't really understand how good they have it. They just know what is. It's a big eye-opener for me as a parent, but it's also an eye-opener for me as I go around the network and do calls for other people to watch their culture and kind of how they react to me often. And a lot of times they don't get me. They don't get us. They don't get what we're trying to do here. They don't understand the bigger picture of things. They're very focused on these sort of little micro level mission rather than the big impact we can really have in the lives of other people. So tonight I do have a bit of a story that I want to talk to you about, and it's always exciting just get in front of our people because I feel like we have this cultural bond that we've shared. And a lot of people have asked me how to reproduce that. I don't know. I will say that if I was going to teach you anything, and I'm not going to talk too much about business tonight, but if I was going to teach you anything about business, it would be build leaders. Try to duplicate yourself, build leaders. That's why our team is super strong. Is because it's not because of me, it's not because of Monica, it's not because of Lee, it's not because of Carrie or Jen or Ryan Chapman or Todd Midget or Tammy Nicholson. It's because of all of us. That's why the team's really, really strong, because we have all these really strong leaders, the real key to success here. But tonight, what I really want to do is just start by telling you a story. And it's a story that is really kind of, I think, the coolest thing for me that I've ever done as a coach. I've done a lot of cool things. We got top 10 trip in 2011 and cycled around South France, and that was really fun. And helping Monica's business be 6-time elite and grow $1 million. My business is about to hit that. That's really all been really great and really fun. Being elite myself was cool. But the coolest thing that I've ever done really involves the Beachbody Challenge. And I think it's just at the core of what we do as coaches, and it's what makes us different, I think, than any other company that I've seen or been around or heard about, or, you know, who's come in knocking on our door today with their ketones or their wine or their candles or their face cream or whatever. What makes us different? And what makes us different is that we get excited about other people's wins. And I think I've over the years learned to get more about other people's victories than my own. You know, my own victories, when I do something well, I like to celebrate, but not for too long, because I know, you know, the pendulum swings back and forth, and pretty soon it's going to go back the other way. So I try not to get too low and try not to get too high. But when somebody else does something really fantastic, I love to just get super excited for them. And my first summit that I ever went to was in 2009. And I met a guy named Tommy Migrant at that summit. And I was got to kind of go back in time. I was practicing a lot of time, working, you know, full time, doing that, hating what I was doing, trying to build something new for myself in a business that I had no experience with and no background doing, and just no reason to be successful at all, other than I was willing to work really hard, and I understood that I had no skills to be successful, and so I was willing to learn. That's what I was trying to do. And I had no sales experience. I was horrible with people. Doing something like this right now, it seems very natural, very comfortable. I can tell you back then, it took me a long time to get comfortable watching myself on a screen, especially with a bunch of other people watching me. I had just not a lot of skills that would make anybody successful in this thing, and I went to Summit to try and learn. And I ended up connecting with Tommy Migrant. And some of you guys know Tommy. Tommy was also on that top 10 trip with us in 2000. It was 2010. We were on the trip in 11. But I met Tommy that night, and Tommy was getting ready for the finals of the Beachbody Challenge. And at the time, the Beachbody Challenge finalists didn't win $100,000. They won $250,000. And that was life-changing money for a guy like Tommy who, you know, grew up with a really troubled past and went through hell as a kid. And it was in Ohio, and, you know, and just lived in abject poverty. And $250,000 was life-changing money for him. And I stayed up until about 3:30 in the morning talking to this guy. And I couldn't believe there were people like that who were interested in me, and that I could be interested in them, and that we could connect on something, even though we had nothing in common whatsoever. The next day, Tommy lost. I guess that's certainly how he looked at it. He was not the winner. Dallas Carter was the winner and won the $250,000. I think Tommy got $50,000. Still a huge deal and life-changing money for him. But Tommy and I became friends, and we started to talk to each other a lot. And I started to create friendships with people like Tommy. The year after that, or 2 years after that, we were on that top 10 trip, which is where I became friends with Jimmy, which is where I became friends with Mike Ryan, which is where I became friends with Josh Spencer, and all the other people there. But that's my core group of people, is Tommy and Jimmy and Mike and Josh. And we had this thing that we really decided we were going to push each other to do as much cool shit in this business as we could possibly do. And I think that's maybe another pro tip if you're writing stuff down, is find some people around you who are going to push you. In 2012, we went to Tommy's wedding in Florida, out on the Keys. And there was a guy named Greg Bird there. And Greg and I ended up sitting down one night. It was actually the night they got married. We sat at the table together, and I got to know him and his then soon-to-be wife, Stacy. Greg Bird actually won the Beachbody Challenge, and Tommy was his coach. And so I had now met a finalist and a guy who'd won, and they had this connection that Tommy had coached Greg Bird. And I talked to Greg. I'll never forget sitting there talking to Greg about what Tommy meant in his life. This is a guy who was in his backyard with a gun in his mouth. Like, no joke, legit, was about to pull the trigger, and he got a call that saved his life. That's what Tommy meant to him. And I couldn't believe that, again, that somebody like Tommy from this background and doing everything that he had been through had every reason to be selfish in life and wasn't. Instead, he took his failure and translated it forward and coached somebody else so that they got to that point. And I was blown away. I was like, wow, okay, that seems like something worthwhile. Seems like something that would really make a difference in people's lives. And Then I go to Summit that year, 2012 Summit, was in LA at that point. And there's Jimmy. And Jimmy is coaching Michael Harris, who won the Ultimate Health Challenge, which is not the Beachbody Challenge, but it's kind of a little bit of a watered down Beachbody. $25,000 is all they get, like for using Shakeology and some of our other programs is kind of what that, I think they still do that. And there's Jimmy coaching somebody into the finals. And I'm like, okay, so I've surrounded myself with people who push me. But at some point, if you're going to do that, they're going to do some stuff and you're going to have to respond. Otherwise, you're not really qualified to hang out with those people anymore. That's kind of how I looked at it anyway. And at that point, I was like, okay, I'm going to coach somebody into the finals of the Beachbody Challenge. And I'm just going to set that goal and I'm going to get rock solid on that. And I remember talking to Craig and telling him that that's what I wanted to do. And he asked me why. And I told him exactly everything that I just told you. I told him that I wanted to have that level of impact on somebody's life and that I needed to keep up with my friends because they were my success partners and we were all pushing each other. And I was slacking. And Craig was like, you know what? This will be the hardest thing you ever do. This will be the hardest thing you ever do because it's not about you. And it's like all of your goals, you hit your goals, no problem. Why? Because it's all under your control. You control what time you wake up in the morning, what time you go to bed at night, how much time you spend, clicking refresh on Facebook or watching cat videos or watching Game of Thrones or talking to people about our products and our business. You control all that. So that's why you're able to hit your goals in our business. It's like, this is about other people. And that's going to be hard for you because at the time I was a really selfish person, to be just completely honest. But I've decided I was like rock. I'm like, okay, good. It's hard. Great. Let's do it. So I started looking for somebody to coach to the finals of the Beachbody Challenge. And I knew that whoever it was going to have to lose a significant amount of weight. Okay. And that's just kind of part of the Beachbody Challenge. It on some level it becomes that, right? I mean, just in reality terms, they are looking for people who will market their products. And the most marketable stuff is these really dramatic before and after pictures. I tend to gravitate towards the stories of people who've overcome injuries and things like that. But that's what Beachbody looks for. And that's what I knew I needed if I was going to find somebody to really get over the hump. And I also knew that would be a bigger challenge. So anytime anybody came along into my sphere of my contact list who was heavy, and had a long way to go, maybe a better way to look at it, I gave them so much attention, like just, right? Because I was like, okay, maybe you're the person who's going to get me there. And Monica will certainly tell you that some of them I spent way too much time with. Some of them I gave more of my time to than I should have because they weren't going to do it. They just weren't going to do it. It was like, no matter how hard you push, if you've coached for any period of time, you've had people who take it, make a decision, commit to the process, and they win and they have success. And that's really fun. I'm sure I can tell you from experience, more people fail than win. That part of that is harsh. And as I was going through this process, it was difficult too, because there have been people I encountered who I had to sever relationships with because they wouldn't change and they're going to die. I had to tell one of my customers at one point, look, I can't keep getting close to you because you're keep getting closer and closer to me. And if you won't change, I'm going to have to go to your funeral and that's going to kill me. I need you to either change or not. And those are hard conversations to have. This is part of what being a coach is about at its core, is helping other people. And sometimes that means you have to play at a big, big level because we're helping people change their lives. So I went through a lot of those people and some came and went. Some had, great success, actually, what I would consider really success, not Beachbody Challenge success, but they changed, people who quit smoking. Maybe they didn't change all their dietary habits. Maybe they weren't super workout fanatics, but they quit smoking or quit drinking or cut soda out of their diets and made these small changes that help them become more healthy, and they'll live longer as a result. I know they'll live longer, and that means they get more time with their grandchildren, and so I take those wins. But I was really looking for somebody who was going to go all the way, right? Who was just going to be all in. So in late 2013, I met a guy named Bob Taylor. And Bob was 49 years old. And I think like most 49-year-olds, he had an extra, 50 that he was carrying around. Then he hurt himself in a whitewater rafting accident. He was rafting on the Colorado River, I think it was, maybe it was a Snake River. Anyway, for his 49th birthday, broke his leg, and he gained another 50. And then he started going to the doctors, and the doctors, guess what they did? They gave him medicine. Then they gave him more medicine. And then pretty soon he was pre-diabetic and had metabolic syndrome. And then after that, he said, I'm really having trouble sleeping. And instead of saying, you should really exercise, because the problem is that you're too heavy to sleep, so you're going to choke to death. But we have a cure for that. It's called a CPAP machine, and you just wear this gas mask thing when you sleep. So he's diagnosed with sleep apnea, has metabolic syndrome, and is pre-diabetic at age 49. So he found P90X, was trying to do P90X. It was way over where he was at. And that's when he found me. He just found me through a lot of the stuff that I do. I'm just very public, especially about P90X at that time. That was what everything I was doing was designed to attract people doing that program to me. And so Bob found me and we started to talk. I gave him some modified stuff to do. So it's somewhere on my website. I've got just like a modified P90X that's about a half an hour. And so you kind of skip through some of the breaks and you only do maybe half. But that's a good place for a lot of people to start. Back then, we didn't have on demand. And so a lot of people had those DVDs laying around, but they didn't know how to get started. So I just created an easy way for them to get started. Like, just try this. It's just a half an hour. You don't have to do that 90-minute yoga. Here's how to do it in 45. Skip this, skip that. And I just kind of created my own little thing. So Bob found that, did that for a while. And then in January of 2014, I started a P90X3 challenge group. And, it was like, new program out. Let's all do the new program. That challenge group produced a crazy amount of people. Kelly Posner was in that challenge group. Susie Shad was in that challenge group. Bob was in the challenge group. A whole bunch of people from England were in the challenge group who I'm still friends with. That challenge group just had a certain something. I don't know what it is. I'm sure you guys have had them where some of them, you just get out of the way. Like, it wasn't anything that I did. I just put the thing together and it just had this life of its own where people pushed each other so hard. And Bob was a part of that. And Bob ended up losing 97 pounds. I remember, before I get into that, I remember one day, as I was, again, like, I'm looking for people who are really, really committed, but I'm willing to, what Craig would call, believe in everybody, but trust a few, right? Craig used to tell me that about coaching. Believe in everybody, but trust a few. So I said, well, how do I know who to trust? And he told me, well, you can trust the people who will follow your instructions and will tell you how they really want to live their life. In other words, they'll be open and honest and vulnerable with you and tell you how they really want to live. And that's how I coach. For those of you guys who've been in the Diamond Mine, like Carrie, that's what that Diamond Mine group is all about. It's me trying to figure out, do we have mutual trust with each other? And if we do, I know because you do the things that I ask you to do, and you're willing to tell me how you really want to live your life. And at times that means saying, like, my life sucks right now. And I'm willing to say that and help you, because I think you can help me get out of this thing, right? So I just went through that with Bob. And I remember we talked like once a week on the phone, and I was talking to him one time, and he was really worked up. He was really pissed. And I was like, what's going on? And he travels a lot. He's an executive for Chevron. And at the time he was living in Houston. Now he lives in the San Francisco area because they moved him. But he's a big muckety muck for Chevron. He works in their chemical sales department. He's brilliant. He's a chemist, and he's a brilliant, brilliant guy. And he was like, you know what? I had to go through security again today. And even though I'm TSA pre-certified, when I run my little travel CPAP machine through the little detector x-ray machine, every time they make me take it out and show it. And I have to show everybody what it is and explain that I have this gas mask with me because I'm basically too fat to sleep. And he's like, I've started getting to the airport early so that if I'm traveling with people, I get to the airport early so they don't have to see this whole thing because I'm embarrassed by it. And that's when I knew. I was like, this guy's going to do anything. This guy will do anything. He'll do whatever I tell him to do because he believes in me. He trusts me enough to listen to my advice. When he told me that, I was like, this is the guy. This is the guy who's going to get me there. So Bob comes out of doing X3. After X3, we did something else. I can't remember what. I think it might have been Insanity. I don't remember exactly what it was. But he does that, and he's lost 97 pounds, all the medication gone. One of the best videos there is his Beachbody Challenge video where he starts to talk about his story. And he's standing in front of this trash can. He's standing in front of this trash can, throwing away all his meds and throwing away his CPAP machine. And he's got this belt on. And the belt is cinched up so much because it's one of his old fat guy belts. It's cinched up so much that it's hanging down like a foot off of his thing because he just hasn't bought a new belt yet. And yet he's lost all this weight. And then he's got like, the big fat pictures and all that stuff. But that one where he's throwing everything away and he's got that super long belt on, I'll never forget that. So Bob did really well. Bob was a daily winner. Daily winners get $500 from Beachbody. Then he was a monthly winner. He was not a quarterly winner, which we thought initially was going to end everything. And then we heard, you don't have to be a quarterly winner to make it to the finals. And I was like, I'm so close. If I could just use my marketing brain to figure this out and promote this thing. And oh, by the way, I have this large group of people called the Fit Club Network who I've invested a lot in and who I've always given the most for and who I feel like I've bent over backwards to do whatever I can to help. I'm going to ask my people for help. And so I put together a campaign. I decided that I didn't want the money. It wasn't about, if you Google, Mary, if you Google Bob Taylor Beachbody Challenge finalist, you'll find it. It's on YouTube. It's like 2 minutes. I decided that I didn't want the money. It was never about the money for me. I wanted the experience. I wanted to keep up with my friends, and I wanted to have that sort of impact in somebody's life, and I wanted the ability to just tell a story like this someday. That's all I cared about. I didn't care about the money. So I ended up winning. So what I said was, any money that I win, I will double and donate to Navy SEAL Foundation. Some of you guys may know, my little brother is in the course of going to BUD/S to be a SEAL. And he's been on that track for years. And so I was like, okay, that's a great charity. That might help him someday down the road. You never know. I don't even want the money. I just want the experience. And so I'll double it and give all the money to Navy SEAL Foundation. And I put together a big campaign around it. I mean, it was like my focus was getting Bob votes. Because for the finals, unlike the daily winners are chosen by Beachbody, the quarterly winners is kind of a combo. But the finals is voting. And I was like, I'm going to give this guy the votes to get to the finals. That is, that the finals, there's Beachbody's involved with that one. But to get there, to be one of the 4 men and 4 women who get selected for that, it's voting. So you guys know the way the Beachbody Challenge works. Daily winners get $500. Monthly winners get $1,000, and the coach. So the daily winners get $500. Coach gets $100. Monthly winners get $1,000. The coach gets $500. Quarterly winners get $5,000. Coach gets $1,000. Finalists get a minimum of $25, and the coach gets 10. I want to say 5. I think it was 5. I'm trying to add it up. Anyway, the winner gets $100,000. There's a 1 male winner, a 1 female winner. They pick 4 men, 4 women from different age groups. And those become our Beachbody Challenge finalists. They get a minimum of $25,000. 1 man, 1 woman get 100, and I think the coach gets 25. So there's a pretty nice little chunk of change there on the line. But I put together this campaign, and we got there. And we made it to the finals, and Brad Jordan was there in the finals, and Brad had lost like 260 pounds. I mean, both of us, we got there, we had our little meeting, and we looked at Brad, and we're like, there's no way we're winning this. And we didn't care. We didn't care. Like, we had done this thing together, and it was like seriously the greatest moment of my career as a coach was standing on stage in the MGM arena. There's like 10,000 people, and just saying, I want to introduce my friend, Bob Taylor, as a finalist in the Beachbody Challenge, and having him walk out, and we hugged, and it was just the best. It was the best night, and it really showed me just who we are and what we do as coaches and the core of it. And how what this whole thing is about is getting excited about other people's wins. The mission statement of the company is to help people achieve their goals and live healthier and more fulfilling lives. That's what we're here to do. So what do we get paid to do? We don't get paid for Success Club points or or, you know, based on volume. We get paid to help people achieve their goals and live healthier and more fulfilling lives. So whenever I'm doing anything, like the thing I'm about to tell you guys about, that's what it's about. If it's not about that, we're probably not going to do it. If we do it and it's not about that, it's probably going to fail. So that's why we don't do things like that. We do things like what I'm going to talk to you about tonight, because it's about that mission, about helping people achieve their goals and live healthier and more fulfilling lives. That is what like drives the whole thing, right? Like passion is what leads you to success. And this is one of these things you got to get passionate about. And I tell people all the time, you know, if you want to shake up your career as a coach, if you're struggling, if you're not sure what's going on, if you don't know where you're going or what you're doing, set yourself a goal to try and coach somebody into the finals of the Beachbody Challenge. I guarantee your business will blow up. It will blow up because you will start looking at people very, very differently. They are not Success Club points. They're people who need to change their lives, and they need your help. They need us. That will shake your business up entirely. You won't start thinking about, oh, it's a month, right? When you have somebody who needs to lose 100 pounds, you're creating year-long programs for people. I was stunned, Bob. His goal was to lose 50 pounds by age 50. He ended up losing 97. Shocking, like dramatic change. I forgot to say the best part about Bob's story. I get excited about these things. So the reason that I tell you Bob's story and bring all this up is one of the things about some of the people in the Beachbody Challenge is after they're done, they have a tendency to go back. You know, I think everybody has this sort of ceiling, you know, that our success bumps up against the ceiling all the time, including me, bumps up against the ceiling. And sometimes you hit the ceiling and man, you just bounce off of it. You know, and you get to a point and you just bounce down. And it's happened to me with my fitness, my personal life, my business, with everything, right? We have these peaks and valleys in our life. And I've seen a lot of people who've been in the challenge bounce off that ceiling hard and completely fall off the wagon and go back to their previous self. And I was worried about that with Bob. But Bob wasn't worried about it. And Bob kept going. He kept doing Beachbody programs. He started running. And he started running like 5Ks and 10Ks. And then he was running half marathons. And pretty soon he was like gearing up for running a marathon. So this was 2014. So yeah, about 2016, last year, you know, he started running marathons on the regular. And I was like, whoa, Bob, like, way to go, dude. Like, you know, way to keep going. And he wrote me a note one day and he's like, I'm going to do an Ironman. And I was like, okay, you know, you're like 54, but cool. Like, you wouldn't be the oldest dude to ever do it, you know, but all right, man. Like, if I can support you, I will. He did a bunch of halves. Saturday, he completed Ironman Texas. So a 2.4 mile swim, 112 mile bike ride, and a marathon. In 12 hours, 53 minutes. He was like he was like 75th in his age group. I mean, he didn't just finish it. Like, he crushed it, you know? And I watched all this stuff happen with this guy. You know, I was so involved in the beginning, and then I've just been a spectator and a fan, just sitting there watching him win. And it is seriously the most fun thing that I've ever done. It's just being involved in that kind of a change with somebody that's sustained. You know, he got an Ironman tattoo today. Like, that, if you're involved in triathlon at all, that's like such a huge thing. Just this coveted thing to have that on the back of your calf. You're always a little scared of those guys when you come up on them on a bike or whatever. You're like, that guy can crush me. He's an Ironman. So anyway, that was Bob. And I've been getting more and more excited about Bob and about his journey and about the Beachbody Challenge. And we've been looking for something to get excited about lately, you know, here on our team, and to really bring everybody together. And what we decided to do was to create our own version of the Beachbody Challenge. So this is sort of, I'm kind of announcing this here. I talked about it a little bit in the FCN group the other day. If you saw that, I want to go through and kind of talk to you a little bit more about what we're doing with this and kind of what you can expect to see. And then I want to answer any questions that you guys might have, and then we can wrap it. So it's called the Healthy BOD Challenge, which is kind of a nice little play on Beachbody On Demand. But the Healthy BOD Challenge, we're going to run a challenge month over month. So it's basically every month we're going to have a challenge going. We may get to the point down the road where we start to like take the winners and put them into an annual prize. We'll see how it goes. That would be really cool. But, right now I just want to focus on what's right in front of us. And what's right in front of us is May. So here's what we're going to do. We are going to create a website, which you'll be able to find at healthybodchallenge.com. You won't find anything right there now, but you will find all this stuff like coming up hopefully within the next 2 weeks. We'll have the website all done and everything. But I want you to start to get your people excited about this, your challengers. So a couple things. First thing is, who is this thing open to? It's open to coaches and customers. One of the things that I think is a big challenge in our business, and that there's a little bit of a disconnect with, is when people go from a customer to a coach. If you don't manage that transition for them really carefully and help them work through it, there's a change there that happens on your end and their end, and they don't understand why. What often happens is you have somebody, they're humming right along as a customer. You guys are great. It's all good. You're shaking the pom-poms for them. When they fall down, you pick them up, dust them off. When they win, you toast them champagne. You guys get back to work, and it's all fun. And it's this very positive relationship you have. Then they become a coach. And even if it's just a discount coach, and this is where the mistake is, it's just a discount coach. When people sign up to be a coach, you need to have a conversation with them about the new relationship you're creating. We've got this one over here. It works really well. It's going to keep going. If you succeed as a coach, awesome. But we have a new relationship that's starting. It's a business relationship. In the business relationship, I need you to do the things that I ask you to do. And if you're not going to be willing to do those things, that's cool. No problem. We'll always be over here on the fitness side of things. If you're not ready, or you don't have time, or you just start to get involved and it's not for you, no problem. I'm not going to change this relationship over here. And then you have to honor that. You have to honor that and continue to treat them like they were a customer in your challenge group. And if you can do that, then you can start to build this other relationship. But what happens is a lot of times, and again, our team is a real exception to this. This is a more of a lecture when I do other people's team calls, because I think we're pretty good at this. Maybe because we've talked about it a lot. What happens is the book gets closed on our customer-coach relationship, and a new one gets open. And if you don't do what I tell you to do, they both fall and go away. And people turn around and they go, yeah, I knew it all along. I knew this was a scam all along. I knew they were just trying to take advantage of me and sign me up. They probably made $1 zillion off of me. Meanwhile, now they won't respond to my text messages about what do I eat, or I'm trying to get motivated, or you know what I mean? We drop them as customers because we start them as coaches. You got to do both. You've got to honor both relationships and take them where they're at. Let them move at their pace. If the people who are ready to coach, you'll know. You'll know real fast because they'll pick it up and they'll run with it. Then your job is to facilitate and build that relationship with them. But as long as they want to stay here, you stay here with them. That's why I want this. That's why this contest is going to be open to both customers and coaches. Okay, so everybody's going to be able to play and participate in this thing. So again, we're going to start month over month. We're going to create a website at the end of the month. So for May, for example, at the end of May, we will have a time where from, what is it? I have my notes. The first to the 3rd of June, people will be able to submit their results. And I'll have all this in detail for you guys, so don't worry about it. From the 1st to the 3rd, they'll be able to submit their before and after pictures, tell their story. We've made weight loss and inches optional. We're going to kind of play around with the form. Really want people who are building stories around Beachbody. Beachbody programs only. Okay, and that's really part of the rules. They need to be using Beachbody programs. I'm gonna vet the winners. If I go to their Facebook page and they're doing CrossFit 5 days a week or something like that, unless Shakeology is the primary supplement that you're using, or the Performance Line or something, we're really looking for people who build stories about Team Beachbody here. Change stories like Bob. Okay, so everybody will be able to submit their before and after photos. The people who are eligible to enter into this thing are coaches and customers of us. okay? The Fit Club Network. This is not open to whatever, Melanie Mitro's team or whoever else's team. They're going to have to be your customer. And that's up to you to make sure that you get your customers submitting their before and after photos to the competition, right? It's also up to you to make sure that you're a customer. What's going to happen is when we get the winners, and I'll talk about the prize money in just a second, when we get the winners, I'm going to email you if it's one of your people, and I'm going to say, is this person your customer? That's when you're going to have to check and figure it out. If they're not, they need, we'll probably allow people to switch at that point. But really, let's focus on getting our customers in this thing. It's going to be very tempting to let a bunch of other people participate in this deal. That's not what's going on here. Okay, what's going on here is the leaders of our team have got together and we put together a prize pool. Because sometimes the way these things run, you guys have to contribute $20 or $50 or whatever in order to submit your customer stories. That's not how this works. What's happening here is the leadership has gotten together and we're contributing into a prize pool so that every month we can give out prizes to your customers as a way to get people excited about this thing and get you guys really focused on the core of what we do as coaches, which is helping people. So here's how the prizes are going to work. First place, every month, $100. Second place gets 150. Third place gets 25. Fourth place gets to go to teambeachbody.com and pick out a t-shirt so they can pick out the program that they did or the next program they're going to do. Fifth place is going to get some sort of a prize. It might be a Shakeology canister, might be shaker cup, might be samplers. I've got some samplers of the performance line, that sort of stuff. Some different types of stuff, just so we've got 5 winners every single month. Right? So what 5 winners every single month are going to allow us to do is to have the social proof that comes along with something like this. Right? That's going to allow us every week to have someone to talk about. Hey, here's Sally Smith. She lost 5 pounds, right? It's 30 days. It's not the Beachbody Challenge where Bob lost 97 pounds. And a lot of people look at 97 pounds and they go, that is light years away. I can never get there. You look at 30 days and you say, this person lost 5 pounds and won $300. Or this person lost 5 pounds and maybe they just got a cool shaker cup or some samples or a t-shirt. They got something for committing to this process for 30 days. All right. And again, coaches and customers, as long as there are people. So those are the prizes. The way that the voting is going to work is a very simple website. It's just a voting website and anybody can vote. Which will help us promote the contest further. Because as people submit their pictures, they're going to be more willing to go on their Facebook page and say, hey, I'm in this competition. Would you go vote for me? Well, what's going to happen? Their friends are all going to see that and hopefully go vote for them and go okay, what? You're in the running for the $300 and you've lost 6 pounds. Well, it's only 30 days, right? Then what happens when their friends go and vote for them on that website? That's if they win, something, anything, a t-shirt, how easy is that? Maybe that person is a coach. How easy is it for them to turn around and say, remember that thing you voted for me for? Would you be interested in doing it? I ended up winning $150, $25, a t-shirt, $300, whatever it was, just because I committed to helping myself. And I can help you get started with that. Here's how we do it. It's a super easy invitation. And it just it's going to create the social proof around us and our team and what we do, right, that we create winners. We create winners in this thing. So that becomes a very easy invitation for people. A couple things about how we're going to do this, the kind of the logistics of it. We're not going to have one big Facebook group or one big tracker app group. This is not me running massive challenge group. Part of the reason is because of so many strong people on this team that quite frankly run challenge groups way better than I ever have or ever could. I don't want to get in the way of that. I'm not going to run a challenge group the way that Carrie runs a challenge group or Todd or Ryan. We do different things. And if they put all their people into my group and I run it the way that I run it, some of their people are going to go, I don't like this guy. I signed up with you. Why? Who is what? So you all run your own groups. Everybody runs their own groups. It's just you get people excited about the challenge. In May, we're not going to have any testimonials or anything like that to share. But in June, we're going to have 5 people from May whose stories we can share. And again, they're going to be stories that are relatable. Because I'm not going to allow people need to have a 30-day picture, before and after 30 days. Somebody loses 50 pounds in 30 days. No. Okay, that's not a legitimate thing. And we're going to have to probably talk to people about that at some point. I'm just prepared to do that. They're going to be transformations that people can connect to and go, man, 30 days from now is July 4th. What if I could look like that for that barbecue that I'm going to? It just lose 10 pounds. Gosh, that'd be great. That's the type of thing. It's within reach, right? And because we're working together, working with a big group of people, we can create a lot of synergy and make it really exciting for people. So the other thing, again, I said earlier, we're really looking for people to create Beachbody transformation stories. So what that means is don't have your people, if you run like a crockpot group or whatever sort of free group you might run to get people into your paid groups, those are not people who should be submitting for this thing. You know, somebody who ate out of a crockpot for a month, I'm glad that they had results. That's not a transformation story about a Beachbody program or our supplements that we're really interested in. We're looking for people who are doing Beachbody programs. No specific program. There'll be one of the drop downs in the form that they're going to fill out is going to ask them what program they're doing. It's also going to ask them what flavor of Shakeology that they're taking. We're really looking for people like that. Some people run groups where they require Shakeology. Some people don't. I'm not going to get in that. You guys run your groups the way you want to run your groups. I'm telling you that in my experience over the last, 9 years of doing this now, the people who win are going to be taking Shakeology because that's what creates results for people, especially quick results, right? So I want to encourage people to really get in and dig in with the supplements and dig in with Beachbody programs. Those are the people you should be talking to. We're going to have graphics that are going to be coming out. Like, again, all this is rolling out. You guys are really getting the first sort of deep dive on this. I talked about it a little bit yesterday in our coaches group, but this is the first real deep dive on it. We're going to have graphics for you guys where you'll have room to put in your URLs and we'll make it really easy for you to explain to people what this is. I'll be shooting some videos where instead of taking 45 minutes to tell a story, I'll tell it in 5, and that will be your third-party tool. Important thing about third-party tools, really quickly, like just a little bit of a teaching moment here if I have a minute. Here's how you approach people. Understand what an invitation is. We talk about invite as one of the 3 vital behaviors. I don't think people have it in their head about what an invitation actually is. An invitation is not me sending you information to look at. That's not an invitation. An invitation is me asking you if I can send that information to you. The best way to do that is to ask people, would you? That's how you talk. In the case of this, if I could present you with an opportunity to win $300 simply by committing to being the healthiest person you can be for the next 30 days, would you be interested in taking a look at the contest or the challenge we're running? Really simple. Right? Would you? Some people are going to say no. Fine. You did your job. Your job is not to decide. Your job is to ask. And the question you're asking is, if I set this up, would you be interested? If I showed you a way, would you look at it? That's the invitation. Not, here's the information. This is what happens a lot is people with something like this, they go, oh, Bob, I have Bob Taylor on the mind. Bob would be so interested in this. And they send him an email like that or a Facebook message like that. All the details, everything, blah, blah. And Bob goes, what the hell is this? Instead of just asking Bob, hey, Bob, dude, I'm super excited about this. I can't believe this. We're doing this thing. There's an opportunity to win $300 just for simply committing to being the best and healthiest you can be for the next 30 days. Would you be interested in doing something like that to get ready for 4th of July or to get ready for Labor Day or Memorial Day rather? Maybe Bob goes, no, actually, I'm really into pizza and a 6-pack right now. That's my jam. So no, I'm not. Great. Your job's done. You did your job. Bob now knows that this is what you do and that you have this thing and then it's ongoing. And that's how I would tell Bob. I would say, okay, cool, dude. We're going to be doing it next month. So if May doesn't work for you, do you want me to ask you again in June? And maybe Bob goes, yeah, you know what? In June, 6 packs and pizza won't be my thing anymore. I'll be ready to get ready. Cool. But maybe Bob says yes, at which point you're going to send him the video that I prepare. Cool. Here's a 5-minute video that explains it. I'll lay out all the rules. I'll be Mr. Happy. I'll lay it all out for them and talk to them about the opportunity and what the prizes are going to be and what it is that they need to do. Then you have to follow up with that person and say, did you have a chance to take a look at the information I sent you? If they haven't looked at it, ask them, okay, when are you going to have an opportunity? And kind of set up an appointment where you can follow up. Then the follow-up is just, are you in or are you out? And they get to decide. That's the invitation and sharing process. The invite is, if I sent you this thing, would you look at it? The sharing process is sending the link and then following up with them and seeing if they've looked at it. It's the same thing whether we're talking about our Healthy BOD challenge or Shakeology or our business opportunity. The exact same thing. If I sent you this thing, would you look at it? You have to tailor those two, that if I and would you, depending on what it is that you want them to do. But if they're not interested, fine, you move on. You don't feel bad about it. You did your job. Okay, that's the invitation process. So I want to open it up for questions really quickly. So post your questions, and I'm going to look at my notes really quickly and see if I missed anything. Talk about that. Oh, I think I said this earlier, but the cost for you guys is zero. So the leaders are putting up, like I'm covering the cost of setting all the administrative stuff up, and then I'll cover the cost on a monthly basis of dealing with all the yim yam in the background that goes on. And then leaders are all contributing into this prize pool so that we can pay everybody. So there's not going to be any cost for you guys. Oh, vote was the other thing. So submissions will be from the 1st to the 3rd. And then from the 4th to the 7th, we'll open up the voting. So end of the month, they have an opportunity. They have 3 days to submit their before and after pictures along with a little bit of information, including their story, which I think is really good for both coaches and future coaches, that we get them telling their story, and getting comfortable with it. Because I can tell you that if I had been given a website where I could post my before and afters that I was kind of proud of and tell you a little story about me, and then I went and told my friends, I need votes, so go and vote for me, they're going to read that story. It just makes the process of inviting them all the easier because they have all that background. So question? Not a question, just some excitement. I love that. Yeah, gosh, I think that's it. I'm super excited about this, as you might be able to tell from my enthusiasm tonight. I think this is something that is just really focused on the core of what we do. And it's also something that gives us all one thing to do. Organizations like ours run the best when everybody rows in the same direction. That's when we're at our strongest, is when everybody is charging in the same direction. And with on-demand, we've gotten away from that a little bit. With the product releases, that's what would happen. That's one of the reasons the product releases were such great momentum builders. Because like Shift Shop, right? Like Shift Shop's coming out. What's everybody doing? Getting excited about that, getting ready for that. Everybody's rowing in that same direction. Everybody's looking at the program. When's it going to be about? When's the preview going to be on BOD? When am I going to be able to do this? People in Punta Cana working out with him, posting all their stuff. What? Everybody's rowing in the same direction. Shift Shop. That's what everybody's doing right now. It's changed. With on-demand, those releases get a little less dramatic and a little less dramatic and a little less dramatic. This gives us one thing to go do every month. Get people excited about this challenge. Get people excited about winning a little bit of money. And as it goes and builds some momentum, we'll gain the sort of social proof that we really need in order to make this thing jam. That's all I got. I don't know. I'm super excited. I've been working on this all day. So do you guys have questions or anything?
Anybody? I bet you're going to get a ton of questions after everyone processes the information.
That's fine.
Yeah.
That's fine. I think it's pretty straightforward, really. It's just we're looking for people who are using Beachbody programs to make substantial changes, and then just celebrating those people and just giving us a way to just do it every single month. So we constantly have a group of people who are really excited. Some of the other teams have done. They call them Power the Pack challenges. And the problem with it is that as a coach, I have to pay in order to be able for my customers to submit. So there's kind of this barrier to entry. Whereas the way we're doing it, it's just get your customers excited about it and then be able to use that as a way to get new people excited about doing the program. beyond the Beachbody Challenge, which has always been a big one for me anyways, is I have all my people submit for the Beachbody Challenge, and I get them excited about it early. Like, you might be able to win this thing. And we've had a lot of people win over the years, not on the level Bob won, only one of those, but a lot of people win daily, even monthly. So
and the cool thing is they might win this challenge, and then they could also win the Beachbody corporate too. So they might be able to double dip a little bit. Never know.
That's my hope. That's my hope. And again, if if we kind of play this right, we got 5 winners every month. So that gives us, again, that kind of social proof. And then if we can create more of an annual thing, I think that'll be more of the culmination of it, because it's going to be a little 30-day challenge. But who sticks with it, right? Who's Bob Taylor and goes on to do an Ironman after doing P90X3? And those people, the community, I think, will really reward them. I think it's also going to be really fun because our team is strong because we have all these leaders and all these different people who are really, really strong leaders, where I don't have to be as involved in this team as I am in my own, because you guys got it, But it's cool to come together with everybody, with you guys and with Todd and with Ryan, and bring everybody together and do it on this big level. And, I'm sure there'll be some healthy competition that kind of springs up as part of that, just the same way it did, with me and Jimmy and Tommy, with me wanting to catch up to them. And, like Josh Spencer was top coach. I was like pissed that Josh was better than me. It's just, I think some of that is really healthy if we can, do it in a fun way, where we're really like having fun with it and we're really competing about changing people's lives. I think it's going to be fun. So
yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, I'm excited. And this video is recorded, so make sure everyone that's on the call, and I'll make sure I post it, that everyone shares with their teams. And then obviously, Dave, you'll have the link too. I'll send it to you once I upload. Yeah. And then when do you think you'll have all the information like totally laid out, the rules, and like within a couple weeks, a week?
The rules are pretty much done. I did those this morning. Again, the rules are pretty straightforward. It's got to be a customer or a coach that is a Fit Club Network person, and so that's really sort of anybody under Monica's personal sponsorship. So everybody here, all of you guys for sure, and pretty much anybody watching. If you're in Lee's group, then Carrie's group, Jen's group, you guys are all eligible because you're all like what we call a qualified entrant. That's the technical term. I got to put my lawyer hat on today and do that. So those are really done. So we're working. The main thing is we're going to be testing the website. We don't really need the website set up until the end of the month, the end of May, that is, because we're not submitting anything. The video from me that will explain all this stuff and kind of lay everything out for you, give you what we call a third-party tool to share with people. I'll have that done most likely tomorrow. I think tomorrow's a pretty light day. I got acupuncture on Thursday, so I'd love to get it done tomorrow. So the acupuncture always wears me out. So yeah, probably tomorrow, and then we're working on graphics and all those little things to be able to share with people about, again, another thing, just sort of, we decided to call it the Healthy BOD Challenge so that we could really focus on health and open things up rather than having it be, the body transformation challenge or the, I'm a fitness model challenge. It's really giving people an opportunity to tell their stories, looking at more than just a before and after picture or how many inches or how many pounds or that sort of thing. This is going to be about what wins the community. And what I know is that what wins is the story. That's always what wins. 2 people lose 6 pounds. One of them has had a fantastic, happy life and just ate Twinkies too much. And the other one has had a tremendous amount of struggles in their life. The tremendous amount of struggles person is going to be the one that comes out ahead, usually. Right. So it's just going to start people telling their stories. But yeah. I mean, within, you're going to start seeing stuff by the end of the week for sure roll out on this. And then just kind of more and more trainings for me and look for, once we get the video done and everything, I'll be able to share that with you. And we'll probably set up kind of a landing page for it. So there'll be a place for people to go and kind of register for the challenge. That's not really necessary. It's really just about the submission at the end. But, we'll probably just put that together and make it easy for people.
Okay. Awesome. All right. Thank you so much, Dave. I really,
of course,
appreciate it. We all do. Thank you.
Pleasure.
And I will probably upload this into the groups tomorrow because it'll take a while to download. So
cool.
All right, you guys. Thank you so much. Thank you again, Dave.
Absolutely. My pleasure.
All right.
Have
bye.
a good night, everybody.
Yeah.
Thank you.